Today's show is going to be on sold customer follow-up. In preparing for this show, I did a little surveying throughout the week when I saw friends and coworkers and associates, and I asked them, do you remember the person who sold you your car? And most people would say, yeah, I remember who they are. Well, do you remember their name? No, I don't remember their name. Have they followed up with you in recent years or whatever? No, I think I got a call or two right after I bought the car, but that was really it. And folks, that is horrible. That is absolutely horrible to think about this, that we have created a customer, but yet we don't stay in touch with that customer. What's amazing to me is why dealers will ask me all the time, why does the average salesperson still only sell 8, 10, 12 cars a month? And one of the biggest reasons is they don't stay in touch with their sold customers. They make the deal and they forget about it. Yet as part of the sales pitch, they tell them they're going to take care of them after the sale. And I'm not convinced they do. At least the cars I've purchased, nobody's taking care of me after the sale unless I made the initial call and said, hey, I need some help. I need some assistance. What's even more amazing to me is the salesperson that's been selling cars for 15, 20, 25 years at the same dealership or maybe in the same market and still sells 8, 10, 12 cars a month. That clearly tells me that is a salesperson that does not know how to follow up with their sold customers. Now, there's a big misconception regarding the sale. And, most feel that once the customer leaves, that their job is done. They've done their job. They sold the car. But what you're failing to realize is that these people are going to buy another car in 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Everybody in their household, is going to buy another car. Every one of their friends and their family is going to buy another car. Everyone at their workplace and their associates are going to buy another car. In my family alone, I represent the purchase of 5 cars every 3 to 5 years that I influence. And now my kids are grown. And so now their boyfriends, girlfriends, and husbands and wives, they're starting to come into this circle of influence that I can affect their buying. Why you would not want to stay in touch and have great communication skill sets with the people you're selling cars to is beyond me. The reality is that once the customer buys the car, your work is just beginning. And this is the fun stuff. This is where people come in and pay more gross. They're easier to sell. And it's just amazing to me. NADA states that less than 10% of salespeople follow up with sold customers beyond the first follow-up call. Now, I know we've got all these great CRM systems, and over the years, some of these companies have built some great platforms. Fantastic. And I know our managers are pretty persistent on, pushing the follow-up call. And I do believe that at first we do a good job, whether that call is 24, 36, or 48 hours later, whether that call is in a month or 2 months, maybe 6 months, but that's where it just drops off the face of the earth. You see, the ultimate goal of a salesperson is to create an autopilot environment for their sales. If you're relying on walk-in traffic to make your income, you are going to starve. Walk-in traffic has a closing ratio of around 13%. That's all it is. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, I close 30, 40, 50% of my car deals, and you probably do. Now, when you mix in your internet leads, your phone ups, your service calls, your feedbacks, your referrals, that's how your closing ratio gets higher. So if you're going to depend on that small percentage, then you're making a huge mistake. So what is an autopilot status? An autopilot status is when 90% of your business every month is from repeat and referral businesses. You've got to think about this. Your volume should grow at a minimum of 2 cars every 3 to 5 years per month. So if you're selling 10 cars now, in 3 to 5 years, you should be selling 12. In 3 to 5 years, you should be selling 14, then 16, then 18, then 20, and then it grows and grows and grows. I always ask managers in dealerships, what would you rather do? Would you rather be a sales manager or a salesperson selling 20, 25 cars a month? And most of them say, I'd rather be a salesperson selling 20, 25 cars a month. Why? Because it's an easy job. It truly, truly is an easy job to do. Here are some other facts. 90% of salespeople do not follow up at all. I mentioned that. Okay, less than 30% of dealerships have customers return for a second visit. That's amazing. especially dealerships in small rural areas where there's not a lot of competition, where you are the only Ford dealer, the Toyota dealer, Honda dealer, Chevy dealer, you're the only one, how it could be 30%. And selling new clients is 5 to 25 times more expensive than selling existing clients. From a cost standpoint, an advertising standpoint, all of those things go into place, okay? Follow-up must be, and this is really important now, when you do your follow-up, it has to be about the customer and not about you. Remember, you told me during the sales process you were going to take care of me after the sale. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So when you have your follow-up with me, it cannot be about you. It can't be about your wants and your needs. I know what your wants and your needs are. You want me to refer friends and family, and you want me to come back and buy a second car. But if you make that conversation all about you, I'm out of the picture, and I will not take your call again. So let's talk first. I've got a list. Dino, one of our trainers, gave me this great list of stuff. Some sold customer follow-up mistakes. Let's talk about some mistakes first, okay? Number one is not mixing up your follow-up methods. You should be doing all kinds of follow-up, whether it be a phone call, a text, an email, a connection on social media. Don't rely on the same thing over and over again. And I'm going to tell you right now, from my heart and soul, the worst thing you can do really is to call me right now. People don't answer the phone. How many times have you called people and their voicemails are full? They had never set up their voicemails. People are leery about picking up the call. I can tell you, and I think you all stand by this, agree with this, I am getting so much spam calls these days. And it just drives me crazy. And they're getting creative with how they do this. I mean, it looks like it comes in from a wireless call. They're using, numbers and digits. And I think it's something important, and it's not. So you got to be creative. Okay. The other thing is finding out what is your customer's best form of communications. Okay. That's a mistake. If you're not finding out how they want to communicate, me personally, texting. That's how I want to communicate. Now, my 85-year-old mother, she's going to say, no, call me, because she doesn't text and she only checks her emails once every 2-3 weeks. A huge mistake is for asking for referrals and follow-up invites. I know that breaks every school of thought that you've been taught. If you start asking me every time you call me for referrals, I'm not going to take your call anymore, because now that call is no longer about me. It's about you. Now I know why you called me. You only called me because you wanted to get my friends and family. Or if you're calling me at the 3-year period, how about this? You call me at the 3-year period, haven't heard from you in 3 years. And now you ask me, hey, your lease is up for renewal. Do you really think I want to come in and visit with you? I can tell you that is not going to happen if that's the only time you call me back. Okay. Another mistake is you're not providing value in the follow-up. What is the reason why you are following up with me? Is there value in that situation? Again, if it's about you, I'm not interested. Okay. Another thing is when you don't keep it brief. And I can't speak for everybody. I'm a busy guy. Okay. You got to get to the point and then get me off the phone. If I'm interested, I'll talk a little bit longer, or I'll engage a little bit longer. But if I'm not, I'm going to go by the wayside. Another thing that's a mistake is not being prepared for the conversation. When you call and you don't have an agenda of what you're trying to accomplish, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Another mistake is not having a process of when you're going to do that. And this is where these CRM systems are so valuable to you, but yet we don't use them effectively. And I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Another problem that we have with follow-up is when we have complaints. We don't deal with them quickly. When a customer calls and has an issue and they want help, and we don't do it because we're afraid of something, that the problem is not going away. The complaint is not going away. It's just going to magnify itself. Okay. And another mistake is our unkept promises. If you're not keeping your promise with me of what you said you're going to do, that's going to be a huge follow-up mistake. Now, why do salespeople fail to follow up? Why don't we do this? Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, some of you might not see yourself as career salespeople. You might look at this as just a job to pass by to do something else. And if that's your prerogative, that's your choice, that's okay. I get it. I understand it. But what a great career when you get into autopilot. I know, and I know you know salespeople that are on autopilot, that just come in every month, write car deals, and have a great time, never take floor traffic, never take ups, and are selling 15, 18, 20 cars a month. Okay. You have no long-term strategy. You don't understand that follow-up is what creates top producers. I do not know of any top producers that rely on walk-in traffic, on internet leads, on phone ups. It's just not going to happen. Um, some of you, and I don't mean to make you mad, you're lazy. You're lazy. You just don't want to do it. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a lazy person too. I do not want to do things that don't give me a benefit and a value. So if I'm doing follow-up and I'm not getting any results, then I'm going to get lazy and I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to share with you how to get results out of these follow-ups in just a few minutes. Another big reason is procrastination. You procrastinate. I used to be a huge procrastinator. I've gotten better at my procrastination. I'm a checklist guy. I love checklists. So I make my list of who I've got to call, what I've got to do, and I go check, get it done, move it forward to the next day. Because to me, once I've gotten to the bottom of my checklist, I've done everything I'm supposed to do for that day. It's a relief for me that, okay, got everything done. I don't have to worry about anything. So we procrastinate. And some of us just have poor work ethics. I mean, it is what it is. You're in charge of your own destiny. You're the driver of your bus. It's going to go where you take it. If you want to be a success, only you can make yourself a success. Your dealership's not going to do it. Your free manufacturer's not going to do it. Your managers are not going to make you a success. It's all up to you. So let's talk now about good follow-up and what does the customer expect? Now, there are a couple of old school thoughts, and I have a really good friend of mine, Chris Saraceno. I hope you're watching, Chris, who swears by this. And I don't know if I'm a fan anymore of this. And it's just me personally, and that's the birthday card, the anniversary card. I'm a grown man. I don't know if I feel comfortable getting a birthday wish from another grown man. Hey, David, just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I hope all your wishes and dreams come true. It just doesn't settle well with me. And a birthday wish on my car's anniversary, it's just me. I'm not saying it's wrong. And if you're doing it and it works for you, great, continue to do it. I do believe, again, that my 85-year-old mother is going to be thrilled to death if you send her a birthday card. But it's not going to be of value if you send her a birthday card and she doesn't remember who you are. I mean, that's a useless thing. Okay. Or in that attacher, in the birthday card, you're asking for referrals or friends or anything like that. I do like the old school attempt of a handwritten note. I'm still an old-fashioned individual. Email sometimes scares me because I don't know if email goes through. But when you do follow up, you've got to have a reason to reach out to me. A reason to me that makes logical sense, that makes me want to take your call, view your text, or view your email. Years ago, I created a program that I called my customer liaison program. So what is a customer liaison? A customer liaison is somebody that takes care of somebody else. Okay. However they do it, they're there to help them, guide them, remind them. You see, here's my thing. If you were to call me, now let's back this up a second. I want you to call me 24 hours after I buy my car. How's the car running? Is everything up to expectations? Are you figuring out how to use everything? Can I help you with anything? Everything's great. Maybe a month and a half, one more follow-up call. Is everything going smoothly? Any other questions? And I'm going to say, nope, everything's great. Love the car. Bye-bye. The next time I want you to follow up with me is only to remind me for scheduled maintenance. Be my liaison. Take care of me. Take care of my car. Help me as best you can. You see, if you were my customer, I would call you or text you and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, this is David over at the dealership. How are you doing? Everything going well? Now remember, they bought the car for me 6 months ago. I followed up a day or two later. I followed up 45 days later. They should know who I am. Still remember me. Hi, folks. This is David over at the dealership. I'm just reaching out to you today to remind you that your car is due for the first oil change. Would you like me to set up an appointment for you, or did you want to take care of that on your own? That's my follow-up. You're going to get half the people are going to say, oh, that'd be great. Could you make an appointment for me? Fantastic. What day is good for you? Morning or afternoon? Morning, great. Early or late in the day? First thing in the morning? How about 7:30? I'll get you set up. We'll see you at 7:30 on Thursday. That's all you have to do. Now, some people are going to say, no, I'm going to take care of it on my own. Fantastic. Not a problem. I just wanted to remind you. Anything else I can help you with? Nope. Everything else is great. Fantastic. Have a great day. Be safe. Bye-bye. And that's the end of my conversation. That is a good follow-up. Now, if the customer is coming in at 9 o'clock on Thursday morning, would it be great for me to be there and say hello? Sure. If I can walk in and say, hey, how you doing? How's everything going? How's the car? How's this? How's that? But folks, this is where this gets difficult. I don't want you to ask for referrals. I don't. I know it is the opposite of everything you've been taught. But you see, every time you do that, you're going to make me more defensive, more defensive. And I'm either going to stop coming to your dealership for my service because I know every time I go there, you're asking me, or I'm going to stop taking your calls, or I'm going to block you on my text messages. If I want to send people to you, I will. And I give you a great example. Walk through your dealership today and ask people honestly, how would you feel about going into your cell phone and giving the names of 3 people that a salesperson could call and solicit them? And I'll guarantee you, you'll be lucky to find one person who would do that. So if you won't do that, why would you ask somebody else to do that? Now, do I believe that it works sometimes? Yes, of course I do. And some of you are doing that and doing it successfully, and that's great. Continue to do it. But you're not going to get it from me. And if you're not going to get it from me every time you ask me, I'm going to become more defensive. 6 months later, call me again. Hey, Mr. Lewis, it's David over at the dealership. How's everything going with the car? Great. Hey, just calling again to remind you, car's due for the next oil change. By the way, this is when they do recommend a tire rotation. Would you like me to set that up for you, or did you want to take care of that on your own? Well, David, that'd be great. Could we set it up for Tuesday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Perfect. Got you all set up. We'll see you Tuesday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now you know what I'm doing every 6 months with my customers. Every 6 months. If I call and they're not in, I'm leaving a voice message. I might send a text message, okay? They're getting the message. They know I've made the attempt. That's all I need. You see, what I'm trying to do is to create a relationship that in 3, 4, 5 years, when they need a new car, they have to think of me. They'd have to give me an opportunity. Think about this. We're 3 years into ownership. I've been calling every 6 months. I've been polite, kind, courteous. I've been a gentleman. I've never asked for referrals. They're at a party. Someone says, hey, we're thinking of buying a new car. I guarantee you that person's going to say, hey, let me show you where you got to go. You need to go see David over at the dealership. This guy is great. He's kind, he's polite, he's courteous. He stays in touch with you. We're having a great experience. Kid needs a car. You know where they're going to go. They're going to come back to me because I'm doing this. Now think about this for a second. If you did this with every single customer, let's take a salesperson that's been selling cars for 20 years. If they had been doing this with every single customer, every single time, how many cars would they be selling today? My God, the numbers are enormous. I wouldn't even want to guess. It could be 30, 40 cars a month. I mean, you think about all those cars they've sold over the years, and now it starts multiplying and multiplying because all they did was stayed in touch with that customer every 6 months. Now, you want to create newsletters and send them out. Those are all great. All those are great ideas. They all have value to them, but they don't all get to the intended person. A call and a text gets to that intended person. And I'm trying to build that relationship with them so that when they do need a car, they're only going to think of me. Now, before I wrap up, I see a lot of questions are starting to come in. Let me share with you another tip to this that I think is so beneficial. You can take this a step further. Let's think about the customer who comes to your dealership and does not buy a car from you, but they buy a car somewhere else. Now, if they bought the same make and model, I am going to be hurt. I want to know why. It simply means one thing, because when people buy cars, they buy cars based on 4 factors: product, salesperson, dealership, and price. So they didn't buy somewhere else if they bought the same product. So it wasn't a product thing. So it either meant that they did not like me as a salesperson, they didn't want to do business at our dealership, and I'm not buying into the price thing, guys. You can't sell me on the price thing. Do I believe people go somewhere else to save $100 or $200? Absolutely. That's because number 2 and 3, you did poorly. They didn't like you or they didn't like the dealership, because everybody will pay a few dollars more to buy from someone they want to do business with. That you cannot convince me differently of. But let's go back to a normal situation. Customer comes in, shops your line of vehicles, doesn't buy, buys something else. Maybe you're Honda and they bought Toyota. Maybe you're Chevrolet and they bought Ford. So it really was a product decision. You're Chevy, you don't sell Fords. The customer liked the Ford better. That is going to happen. Nothing you can do about it. So now what do most salespeople do? Well, they get mad, they get angry, they take the upsheet and they throw it away. And they go, that guy was a jerk anyways. But I don't get it. Excuse me. You've created a relationship already. Why would you want to throw that relationship in the trash? Remember, they're going to buy another car in 3 to 5 years. They've got friends and family. They got coworkers and associates. They're going to buy cars too. So think about this for a second. I'm at the Chevy store. You came and you shopped. You liked me, but you said, David, we like the Ford better. We bought the Ford. Great. Congratulations. Enjoy the Ford. It's a great product, great dealership. Never say anything bad about your competition. Send them on their way. But you see, here's what I would do. In 6 months from now, I'd call that customer up. And I'd say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how's the Ford doing? They're going to say, great, we love it. Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. Hey, listen, I'm not sure if your salesperson at Ford has been following up with you, but Fords and Chevys, kind of the same. They both require oil changes around the 6-month, 6,000 mile mark. I would like to invite you to our dealership for your first oil change. Would you like me to set up an appointment for you, or did you want to take care of that on your own? Now, let's face reality. Most people are going to say, well, we'd rather just take it back to the Ford dealership. Okay, great. Listen, I just wanted to make sure you did it. I want to make sure you take good care of the car because it'll last forever. So thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. Be safe. And if I can ever do anything for you, don't hesitate to call. That person's going to hang up the call and go, wow, really? Oh my God, that's the guy I didn't buy from. And I never heard from the guy that I bought from. They're still going to take their car back to the Ford dealership and have it serviced there. But guess who I'm going to call in 6 months? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Ford's still running great. Hey, again, we'd love to earn your service business. Could I set up an appointment for you, or did you want to take care of that on your own? Nope, we're going to do it on our own. Great. Hey, listen, again, I hope I'm not bothering you. I always drop this. I hope I'm not bothering you. They're always going to say, no, David, no bother. Don't worry about it. We appreciate the call. Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to help you. Okay. They go on their way. Now you think about this. They got friends, family, coworkers, associates. Somebody says to them, hey, we're thinking about buying a new car. They can't remember their salesperson's name, but I'll tell you what, they remembered my name because I'm the guy that's still calling them every 6 months to remind them to do their regular routine maintenance. They're going to send people my way. I wouldn't be surprised if in 3-4 years from now, they want another car. Maybe they want to get another Ford. I'll bet $1 they're going to call me up and say, listen, David, we just want to let you know, we're going to get another Ford. We appreciate everything you've done. By the way, you did sell the car to the Joneses and the Smiths. Oh, absolutely. I appreciate it. Listen, I understand you like the Ford better. Don't worry about it. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Can I still stay in touch with you? Absolutely. This is building relationships, and relationships sell cars long term. This is where you go on autopilot and people just come in and buy cars from you. Folks, years ago, I used to call it the 90-day, 90-second rule. And that was because years ago, we used to recommend oil changes every 90 days. And it would take me about 90 seconds to make the phone call. So it was my 90-day, 90-second rule. Now it's 6, 8, 10 months between oil changes. So if you do this consistently, invest 90 seconds in anybody you've created a relationship with, you're going to do fantastic. So let me start wrapping up here. Next week, I'm going to take a question in just a second. There's a bunch of questions coming in. Next week, I got a great topic for you. We're going to talk about the difference between closing and negotiating. Those are two totally different things, okay? Totally different. And how you do each of them will determine how successful you are. Okay, let me see what kind of questions I got. Matt wants to know, when should you make your first follow-up call? Well, Matt, 24, 36, 48 hours, 2-3 days after they bought the car, I would just call up and say, hey, how's everything going? Is it running the way everything running smoothly? Have you forgotten how to utilize any of the equipment? These cars are so confusing someday. And they might ask questions and, however it may be. They might say, I can't figure something out. Look, if they live close by, say, let me jump in the car, drive over right now. I'll give you a helping hand. All right, car guy, what if my customer never responds to my follow-up attempts? Should I still attempt to follow up? It depends on whether you think that your message is getting through to them. If you think your message is getting through, then absolutely, I would still continue following up. Okay. If you think it's fruitless and that you're not getting any response whatsoever, yeah, there's going to be a point of time that I'm just going to say ghost and they've disappeared. Maybe they gave me bad information. All right. GG, isn't asking for referrals a key part of being successful? Oh, absolutely. But not in this point in time. Not now. Not now, because you know what? Every time you ask me for a referral, I get defensive. Not everybody does, but most people do today. I'm telling you again, I am not giving you my list of people to call. I'm not going to do that. I know somebody will. I think you're better off not asking and letting people send people your way. It's going to be a much better situation. Art wants to know, when is a good time to ask for referrals? Never. I mean, I have to think more about that. I guess I'd have to do a study. And let's just say we had 10 customers buy a car over the next week. And each of those 10 customers gave us 3 referrals each. So I had 30 referrals. If I called all 30 of those referrals, what are the odds one of them is going to be in the market for a car at that given time? I don't think it's very high. I just don't think it's a valuable thing at that point. All right, Texas. Okay. What if my customers move to another state or out of the area? Do I still follow up, as I know they're not going to be buying their next car at my dealership? Well, absolutely. Just because they moved away doesn't mean they still don't have friends and family members here. Absolutely. And in today's market, Texas, you could live in Texas now and move to Oklahoma, and I can still sell you a car. And for $300, $350, $400, put it on a truck and ship it down to you. We do that all the time. With the internet now, people are buying cars everywhere. So I don't have to be in your general market. All right, let me do two more. After the first follow-up call, how often should I follow up? My, again, thing is every 6 months. I like to have contact every 6 months. I think that's most important. All right, Claude, at what point should I start informing or start introducing? Oh, it's a good question. Okay, let me see if I read this. At what point in time should I start introducing? Okay, I understand what you're saying. You want to know, when should you introduce trading into a newer model? That's a great question, Claude. I'm going to end with this question. Most cars that are financed for 72 months or less start to have positive equity around that 36 to 40 month period. That is when I might start introducing the idea of trading it in. Now, how would I do that? I would do it very subtly. If I knew the customer was coming in for an oil change or some service, I would do it then. And how I would do it is when they're in service, while they're waiting for their car to be serviced, I would then say, hey, you know, your car is now at its most valuable point of view right here, and it's still in good condition. I want to know, I worked up some numbers for you, and I could put you in a newer model for X amount of dollars. Here's what becomes important. I know you're not here today to buy a car, but what I'd love to do is spend a few minutes. Let me show you some of the new ones. Let me give you all the information. Take it home and digest it. All I'm trying to do, folks, is get them into my process, get them excited. Because if you try to sell them a car then, you're no longer a liaison. You're now a salesperson. Now you're pressuring people. But here's the good thing. If you do this properly, if you sell 10 cars today, in 36, 38, 40 months, you have 10 people that you can reach out to. If you've done your job with proper follow-up. Let's say the customer is now bringing their car to Jiffy Lube. They're still taking your call. They're still contacting you. Around that 36, 40 month period, I might say to them at the end of the conversation, hey, you know, I did a little research. Your vehicle is now at its most valuable point, and we have a strong need for these cars. I did a little math, and you know, your payment now is $340 a month. Actually, for $330, I could get you into a brand new one. And if this interests you, would you like to come in, take a look at some of the vehicles? We'll make it just an informational gathering visit. I'll give you all the information you need to take it home and think about it. And now you're going to start to balloon. This thing's going to start to spiral. It's going to be a snowball getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now think about this, and I'm going to end with this. And this, I say that I've already said this to you. Now do this for 20 years. How many cars would you be selling a month? I can't answer that question because I don't know. But I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be a lot more than 10 to 12 cars a month. My guess is it's going to be way north of 20. So you have a decision to make. Is this a job or is this a career? And folks, there's nothing wrong with being a professional salesperson. Me today, if I went back into the industry, I want to be a salesperson. It's the easiest job with the least amount of pressure, and I can do well and make a great living.
Thank you for watching my video, and I hope I inspired you. If you enjoyed the content, please like, share, and click the subscribe button. Once you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell so you can receive more content like this every week. And should you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear them.